Welcome to another episode of Non-Toxic Conversations. I'm Sam, your host.
And I'm Nikki, your co-host, and we are integrative health practitioners with Balance Friends. And I'm so excited to be here with Sam today.
It's always fun when Nikki and I get to be on an episode together, because we work together and it's really so fun. And honestly, being a virtual practice, it's so fun because Nikki and I actually have never met in person, which is a fun fact about us, but we talk pretty much every single day. So It's fun to record these episodes and bring you guys good information. So on today's episode, we're going to talk all about vitamin D. It is super important for so many systems in the body. So we want to really bring you the information that you need to help your vitamin D levels and really just to overall maybe make a small little switch for a really big impact. So we want to start off by talking about some symptoms of low vitamin D, which we find to be very common in our integrative wellness practice. We've run these vitamin D levels on so many people, really all over the country and even all over the world. And we see low vitamin D seriously all the time. So Nikki, take it away with some symptoms that somebody might be experiencing with low vitamin D.
Yes, and I just want to touch on really quick, because like you said, we've tested so many people, and I have done tests through us, and I've also done tests before I met Sam and Alyssa through other, services, at-home lab services, where my vitamin D has been low for a very long time. I'm working on it now. I have a great supplement that I'm using. But before, it said that my vitamin D was okay or in the optimal range when it was much lower than it should be. So our test will actually show you, it's supposed to be between 50 and 80 is the number. And a lot of tests will show if you're between 20 and 80, then it's okay. So I just want to point that out, that some tests might say it's in the optimal range when really it should be above 50.
So that's a really big point you just made there. And I'm glad you brought that up because that's the big difference between running lab tests through more of an integrative health practitioner like Balance Friends versus when you go to your medical doctor and you're like, can you please run this lab for me? If you're asking them to run the lab, chances are your insurance may or may not cover it. There will be out-of-pocket charge no matter which way you go. But they may say, your vitamin D levels are fine. You don't need to supplement. Everything is good. But that's because the range that they consider acceptable is much larger than what we do in the more holistic wellness space. We're definitely more picky about what we consider normal. And that's because we want to nip it in the butt right away before it becomes a bigger issue and you are experiencing symptoms. So let's go over the symptoms.
Yes, so symptoms are going to be chronic fatigue, just kind of always dragging, never feeling like you have quite enough energy to feel completely optimal during the day. Frequent illnesses and weakened immunity. I know this was a big one for me. Before I was supplementing, I just felt like I couldn't catch a break. Like I would start to feel better, and then if someone was sick, like I was susceptible to getting sick so much easier. Bone pain and muscle weakness. Hormonal imbalances, which is, that's a whole umbrella term and that can go into many more things, but mood swings, anxiety, feelings of depression, and then hair thinning or hair loss are also symptoms as well.
I would add, just with my dental hygiene background, I also would add frequent tooth decay or cavities because vitamin D really does help strengthen both teeth and bones. So if that's also something that you struggle with, then we need to be looking in on those vitamin D levels. And like Nikki was saying, with the hormone situation, if you are somebody who is struggling with things like infertility and specifically recurring miscarriages, vitamin D is a level that needs to be checked and needs to be addressed for sure. Anything else to add under the symptoms category? Can we cover it?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about why would somebody be deficient in vitamin D? Like, how does that even happen?
Yeah, so I mean, gut issues is a big thing with, any deficiency really, because you're trying to take these supplements and you are just not getting the absorption that your body needs because, you have leaky gut or dysbiosis in your gut or whatever it may be. So your absorption is just not working efficiently. So that can be a reason. And then diet, if you're just eating simply a lack of vitamin D rich foods, that can play a role as well. And then a lack of sun exposure, which so in the winter, a lot more people are a little bit more deficient in vitamin D and would maybe need a little uptick in their supplement regimen. Just add a couple more drops if you're taking the liquid vitamin D form like me, or just maybe add in another pill depending on the IUs. And also, even in the winter, still trying to get sun exposure, even though it's cold and it could be cloudy. But if there's a sunny day, getting outside for 10 to 15 minutes even would make a big difference. So lack of sun exposure, just being indoors too much, wearing sunscreen all the time instead of just getting like 5 to 10 minutes of sun, without that sunscreen on. Toxicity overload, so heavy metals and endocrine disruptors can block vitamin D. So there's lots of different reasons why people could be deficient.
I also would add to that list being pregnant, or even having a parasite, to piggyback off of our last conversation.
Yep.
When you have something inside of your body sucking nutrients from your body, it leaves you deficient as well. So if you're ever curious, like, okay, where am I at with my vitamin D? You really should check it consistently to know where you stand. And I really love that you said liquid vitamin D, which is going to bring us into the next topic, which is how can we replenish our vitamin D levels? And I think a liquid supplement form is one of my favorites because you can get nitty gritty with the dosage, and you can play with the dosing depending on where your levels are at. If you need 10,000 IUs, I think it's IU is the measurement. Okay, I think it's 10,000. You could do that for short term if you're really, really depleted. A good maintenance dose for most people would be maybe 3,000 to 5,000. So you don't need so much for long term, but it's about knowing your levels and tweaking it along the way so that you're more in balance. Would you agree with me?
100%. And also the liquid vitamin D, I feel like lasts so long. Like I have had that thing for, I don't know, 6 months now. And I still have a good amount left because it's just a concentrated form, and I love it. I love the liquid vitamin D. I'm never going back to my pills for that one. So
yeah, neither. And there's no taste. My husband and I both use it, and I think that I order it maybe once a year.
Yeah.
Like it's really amazing. So there is one important thing about supplementing with vitamin D. There are a few things you need to look out for. Nikki, can you clue us in on some of those important things?
Yes. So definitely as it is with any supplement, making sure it's third-party tested and it's the highest quality, all the things, not getting your supplement from the same place you're getting your toilet paper, making sure you're going to a reputable supplement provider. And then also for vitamin D specifically, doing a D3 with K2. This will just help get the D3 where it needs to go, get it into the bones and not have it be kind of floating around in the arteries. And there are studies that show that it can contribute to calcification of the arteries. So having that K2 in there is super important. And yeah, like I said, just making sure it's from a reputable place, it's third-party tested, all those good things.
Yes, absolutely. And then I know we have talked over and over again about knowing your levels, and we already talked about the differences in lab testing. So if you want to find out what your levels are, we do offer at Balance Friends an at-home lab test for vitamin D. It is $99. You can get it from the website, but that is really affordable for the information that you get for a nutrient and a hormone that affects so many different systems in our body. So if that's something that you're interested in and you want to look into, it's super easy to take. It comes to your door with all the directions that you need to take the lab test. And then once we see that you purchased your lab, we will also be in touch with you via email on how to get your lab results. And then we will set up a virtual consultation where we will walk you through what dosage is good for you. When should you retest? We will have all of those conversations with you on that virtual lab review. Do you have anything to add, Nikki?
No, just to double down on how important vitamin D is and how it just really plays a role in so many functions in the body. And if that, I mean, you could be having so many symptoms, and obviously there could be, you know, a root cause, as most of the time there is. But just getting that supplement in will be such a great step in the right direction, and can help alleviate, you know, a good amount of those symptoms. So.
Well, and such an affordable way to just feel better kind of right off the bat. Like we said, even our supplement, it lasts a year. So it's just worth it to have that little bit of investment for hopefully a big impact on your wellness. So I will link that up in today's show notes. So be sure to check that out. As always, if you have any questions, please reach out to us via email or Instagram. Direct message is always good. We are at Balanced Friends on Instagram, and our email address is balancefriends@gmail.com. So please remember to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. We have another good one coming your way soon.